India, an ancient nation
And now,
that defied imperialism
we now pledge
to be a modern economy at the heart of global growth. As technology evolved, so did India, becoming a country with one of the highest GDPs in the world. And among those who made India what it is today is the Phdcci Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Phdcci, a chamber where progress, harmony and development come together.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत.
And as India further progresses to be Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, Phdcci is ready to play a pivotal role. As the chamber is the most prominent voice of the MSMEs, it is perfectly poised to work in this sector to translate the idea of self-reliance into a reality. Phdcci has steered many policies at the national and state levels. As liberalized India was evolving to be the new India, the chamber was at an advantageous position to offer thought leadership. So, many prominent policies have inputs from the Phdcci. And as its contribution to growth, the Phdcci has organized prominent annual events such as the Phytex, Agri and Hortitech, Arogya Melas, Defense Expos and the Farm to Fork, among many others. Hence, the government recognized its contribution by issuing a postage stamp in 2005 in its centenary year. Phdcci is a constant partner in the progress of the nation. It shares the government's dream of making India a $5 trillion economy by 2024 and has strongly supported the Make in India, Skill India, Digital India, Startup India and Stand Up India movements. It has also been bridging the gap between policies and practices, particularly in supporting the MSMEs of the country, and its role is guided by the intense research it undertakes on different contemporary issues.
At the very beginning of the lockdowns caused by COVID-19, the PSD Chamber took proactive measures to begin holding webinars and virtual conferences in which all the stakeholders were invited. It provided the correct platform for the trade and industry to interact with the government authorities to try and minimize the disruptions caused by the lockdowns. In the face of such a difficult situation, the Government of India's resolve of building an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India with inclusive growth across all sectors of the economy deserves highest appreciation. The rupees 20 lakh crore stimulus package to alleviate the difficulties caused by COVID-19 has therefore proven to be very timely. All indicators for the month of September 2020 show that the economy is gaining its vitality back again. Electricity and fuel consumption is up. The volume of e-way bills increased to a record 57 million for the month. Railways increased their freight tonnage by 13% and a record 1.8 billion digital transactions were made.
What the chamber is achieving today is the fructification of a humble effort that started in 1905. That is, even before the national capital moved to Delhi, 8 prominent businessmen created the Punjab Chamber of Commerce. From this humble beginning to becoming a gigantic force in the Indian business scene, Phdcci constantly evolved, successfully addressing the needs of the times. Every time. Its initiatives got the support of prominent personalities who steered the Indian economy. This partnership is still going on. Phdcci has more than 2,200 direct and 1.5 lakh indirect members across India. And it has about 250 associate members and 16 state chapters. The chamber has its headquarters in Delhi It has state offices in Delhi, Chandigarh, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Assam, Gujarat and Kerala.
The disruption caused by the pandemic is being seen as an opportunity to radically reform our health sector by developing world-class infrastructure and harnessing digital technology and artificial intelligence powered tools. During the critical phase, our esteemed PhD members provided timely support to state governments by building hospitals, health centers, and manufacturing world-class critical care equipment such as ventilators and PPEs. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Ayush is making optimal utilization of electronic and digital platforms for promoting indigenous practices of medicine and healthcare and digitalization of our health records. PhD Chamber organized a number of seminars, webinars on the Ayush system to facilitate knowledge building and the transfer of cutting-edge technology and skills so that we may truly become Atmanirbhar.
Industry 4.0 is changing the landscape of manufacturing industry in India. While technologies such as robotics, AI, ML, cloud computing and big data analytics already exist in the manufacturing sector, their integration with one another will transform the way we do business. The PhD CCI takes immense pride and thanks its members for making it a robust caucus, brimming with ideas, sharing with camaraderie and daring to grow.
The partner chambers of the PhD CCI are the Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Federation of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana Commerce and Industry, Federation of Karnataka Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and Federation of Industry and Commerce of Northeastern Region. The headquarter has all the facilities that help in outreach to the business and administrative functionaries. It has a state-of-the-art auditorium, conference halls and meeting rooms. The Chamber organizes regular events and meets to facilitate the business community. PhD CCI plays a leading role in scouting for opportunities for Indian businesses abroad. As a part of this initiative, PhD CCI participated in exhibitions in Thailand, Russia, Bangladesh, Singapore and Iran. It opened its first overseas office in Bahrain in 2017 to reach out to the GCC countries. It has also participated in several India-specific events worldwide, such as the India Expo in Saudi Arabia, the 16th Global India Festival in Malaysia, Best of India in Azerbaijan, and the Best of India show at Sochi, Russia. The Chamber also accompanied the Prime Minister at several places across the globe. PhD CCI has signed an MOU with the European Business Group to strengthen ties in post-Brexit Europe. It has also formed an Ambassadors Economic Forum to boost business in countries not explored much till now.
When this pandemic started and when the lockdown was announced, PhD was one of the first chamber to bounce back, and it filled the gap which was there between the government and the industry. In fact, PhD made sure that all the problems with the industry which they were facing because of various reasons, be it state center coordination, we addressed most of those issues. We represented to the government and got most of the problems of the industry addressed at that point of time. I'm also happy to say that in last few years, PhD has positioned itself as a thought leader, as a think tank. Even in these pandemic times, we have made in last 6 months, we have made almost 152 representations to the government. And these are backed by the research being done by our research bureau. And also we have taken inputs from the industry. And I am happy to say that the number of our recommendations and inputs which were given to the government, they were accepted.
What makes PhD CCI the most innovative is its services to the MSMEs. It has about 50 specialized committees from a wide range of subjects ranging from agribusiness to airports. It has effective facilitation systems for MSMEs on issues such as loan facilitation, IPR, tenders and much more. For these, the Chamber has a full-fledged facilitation center.
Indian startups and innovators will play a vital role in the success of the Atmanirbhar mission. PhD believes that startups are the backbone of Indian economy, especially for generating employment and enhancing GDP to double-digit growth in the near future. Young startups in India are set to adopt radical solutions and breakthrough technology to leapfrog into the future. PhD Chamber, through the Young Business Leaders Forum, popularly known as YBLF, and the Startup Forum, plays an active role for the youth and their mentoring as future business leaders. These forums work effectively for promoting and developing business networking, leadership skills, organizing programs for disruptive learning, and simultaneously contribute to nation building.
As an encouragement to performing businesses, the Phdcci has instituted awards and recognitions for enterprises. The role of the Chamber isn't limited to business. Through its foundations on family welfare and rural development, the Chamber executes its social responsibility. And as the COVID-19 pandemic affected the country, Phdcci took innovative measures to carry on functioning post-lockdown. It was one of the first chambers to go online with prominent webinars. During Unlock 1, it adopted foolproof safety measures in its office, with Arogya Setu app being made a must for entry into the Phdcci office. And member organizations ensured safety measures in their factories. Phdcci also ran awareness campaigns on COVID safety and lent its support to ground-level efforts.
Members of the PhD Chamber once again rose to the challenge in contributing over 525 crores towards the PM CARES Fund. Our two foundations, the Family Rural Development Foundation, Family Welfare Foundation, contributed to the lakhs of underserved food packets, sanitizers and masks and personal protective equipment. I wish to thank our Managing Committee members, patron members, star members and special invitees to the Managing Committee.
Of encouragement, because presence here of encouragement and we look good can make the events active. Before we start, I would say what we start is we will national anthem. National anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Token of appreciation, I would request our Shri Sanjay Agarwal ji welcome our excellencies with a plant to give on behalf of the PhD chamber. Request Sanjay ji plant ambassador Belarus, please. I'd like to state the ambassador from Pakistan, Excellency Mr. Noor. Pakistan. And to the counselor from Embassy of Kyrgyz. Thank you very much, sir. So just to give you a brief background, how we started this program, because when the pandemic started, we were given the mandate by our leadership that we should do a lot of interactive sessions with the Indian missions as well as the foreign missions in India to have the interaction and dialogue running on so that we understand what are the challenges and opportunities available. We are really thankful to all the excellencies that we have been able to do one-to-one interactive sessions with them, combined sessions with the CIS region also, and a lot of B2B meetings also followed by that, which has created a lot of export opportunities for the Indian companies to enhance the trade between the two countries. And we have also got a lot of delegations which have come virtually with whom we have been interacting. So we are really thankful for that as well. I am happy to also announce that we have been joined by His Excellency Shri Alok Ranjan Jha ji, who is the Ambassador of India to Belarus. He is virtually with us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining. And then we were doing a lot of interactive sessions. And in March, we did an international week where the whole week we have converted, because in the chamber we have different committees of international affairs, starting from Americas, Europe, CIS, Africa, MENA, South Asia, Oceania, East Asia. So we did 1 week session. Every day was dedicated to one of the regions, and we were lucky enough to have the physical presence of a lot of excellencies who were praised here, and also our Indian embassies who were there. And we had the support from the Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of MSME also. We were also lucky enough to have physical, virtual presence of the MEA officials as well, and physical as well. They came for the valedictory session. After that, we have done a lot of B2B meets. So this is again a follow-up of that. We thought that we will do today as we are doing for the CIS region. So tomorrow and day after, we are doing on the Grulac group of Latin American and Caribbean. And on 23rd and 24th, we are doing with UK. So this is how we are trying to keep our dialogue on with all the regions so that we can enhance the trade. So now I will not take much of your time. I would like to request Ambassador Anil Wadhwa, who is our chair for the PhD CCI Ambassador Economic Forum, to give his introductory remarks, please.
Thank you very much. Excellencies from various CIS countries who are present here today. Sees His Excellency Mr. Alok Ranjan Jha, who's joined us from Belarus, friends from the media and colleagues from the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Host President Sanjay Agarwal. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to this second edition of International Conference and Exhibitions on Destination CIS. The past decade has seen a paradigm shift in terms of the economic balance of power. Economic growth in many developed economies has actually hit financial crises and the pandemic. Many of them are actually struggling to retain their economic supremacy. But by comparison, emerging markets are not only looking stronger but also contributing steadily to global growth. The CIS region is one such region which is extremely promising. CIS countries offer innumerable opportunities, account of rapidly growing markets, given their relative GDP growth, vast natural resources, political stability, educated workforce, etc. The COVID-19 pandemic has, of course, changed business landscape, but it's also thrown up some very good opportunities. It's been a constant endeavor, as you just heard, to sensitize the business houses of India about the various opportunities of trade that exist between India and countries around the world. Chamber over the past organized more than 100 interactive sessions with of foreign missions based in India. Some specific areas that immediately where India and CIS could cooperate are pharmaceuticals, engineering, machinery and mechanical appliances, energy, metals and mining, power generation and transmission, petroleum, products, fertilizers and health. There is also potential for cooperation of agribusiness and food, textiles including yarn and carpets, oil and gas exploration, gems and jewelry, leather and rubber sectors. Similarly, in the services area, we can join hands in consultancy, education technology, skills development, telecommunications, once the effects of the are operating city hopefully soon. Although India shares cordial relations with the countries of the CIS region, bilateral trade and commercial relations have not grown commensurately. India's exports have a minuscule share, less than 1% of global countries of the region. We know that trade, investments and connectivity are key to increasing this relationship. Greater Indian presence in the CIS will also help the region pursue their multi-policies. This is why India has been keen in development of National North-South Transport Corridor, Chabahar Port. National North-South Transport Corridor has the potential to transform the economies of countries along the corridor, specialized manufacturing, logistics and increased physical connectivity, facilitating access. The flow of goods and services will inevitably information sharing mechanisms along the corridor, which can reverse the existing demand deficit in member states. Future creation of industrial parks, especially economic sectors such as pharmaceuticals and agriculture, and substantive value in this connectivity. Recently, at Chabahar Day, organized on the 4th of March, India invested Chabahar port in the scope of the corridor. Latest developments in Afghanistan have cast a shadow on the pursuance of the objective of bringing Pakistan and Uzbekistan National North-South Transport Corridor, eastern route, bringing about connectivity and border. So, however, India will continue to pursue multiple options of trade and in the future. This also includes strengthening the air linkages, transport. India and CIS their relations by investments for development in digital. That is where today's conference gains most importance, since the relationship between India and countries of CIS region, more of communication and direct connect. I'd like to thank all of you joining us today, here as well as virtually, and very stimulating. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Vadva, for giving an overview and telling us that what are the potentials available between the two regions, and definitely with the support of all the excellencies here, we will be able to enhance the trade. I am very sure on that part. I would also like to welcome His Excellency Mr. Akhatov Dilshod Khamidovich, the Ambassador, Embassy of Uzbekistan. Thank you very much, Excellency, for joining us virtually. We really welcome you, sir. Thank you. So now I would like to invite Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, the President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to give his presidential address, please.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you for the second edition of the Annual Conference and Exhibition on Destination CIS. It's my privilege to welcome excellencies, diplomats from Belarus, from Kazakhstan, from Pakistan, of course, privileged to have such a distinguished strong action to follow for India. And friends, India has had a close historical link with Malaysia. Our relations date back to the day. Also, the two regions share their taste in art. However, despite the amicable relationship, economic relationship hasn't reached the desired and after decades of friendship. This could mainly be because of dearth of information about the economic business opportunity in CIS, lack of regular. Reflecting upon the trade figures, India's total trade with the CIS countries at 30, of which India's export to the CIS stood at roughly 0.9, our imports from the region at roughly $1 billion. As the global dynamics are changing and developed markets are getting saturated, trade amongst the developing economies of the globe, the CIS region is the 4th fastest growing regions in the world. According to the IMF, World Economic, 4 of the world's fastest growing economies are in the CIS region. Multilateral agencies such as the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, European Bank of Development, active in funding developmental projects in the Indian government is also seeing untapped potential in initiating programs and develop closer economic. There are good possibilities of investments and joint, particularly for the MSMEs of, and they should be focused to develop business linkages as backbone for development in. Apart from trade and investment, both the countries should also promote tourism. People contact is very important to build long-term relationships. Also, engaging in cultural exchanges, student exchange programs, art festivals, etc., adds to the existing strong bonds of friendship among our. Both India and the CIS region should now convert the existing cordial economic and political relationship into a mutually beneficial trade and investment. Efforts will have to be made to bridge existing information gaps and emphasize on the new emerging areas. Lastly, I would like to say there is a great potential and opportunities for cooperation in sectors such as agriculture, food processing, pharmaceuticals, tourism, and logistics among. Also, it is very important to include the SME sector, an integral part of the value chain, and ways for deep integration with the CIS countries. I am not going to go into the specific details and request our esteemed guests to shed light on the various trade and investment opportunities that are present in the region. Before I conclude, I would like to thank the ambassadors from the CIS region, the Indian ambassador to the Belarus, who are present on this occasion, for sparing their valuable time for. And I'm sure that sessions like this, which we are having today, will support the business communities in both the regions to work in much closer cooperation. Thank you very much and have a good morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Sir. As you rightly mentioned that we have been doing activities with them. Just to give you a background, that twice we have participated as India Pavilion in exhibitions in Azerbaijan, and we're thankful to the Excellency for all the support we got there in Baku. And we have also taken delegation to Azerbaijan and Georgia. In fact, in Georgia, there was another exhibition where we participated. And in Uzbekistan also, there was a delegation which we have taken up with our members to that region. In fact, we have hosted the delegations also from Uzbekistan here in chamber as well. So we look forward to similar activities, more in physical, we would say, so that we can go to your great countries and see the beauty there and also do the business as well. So now to proceed further, as we have with us His Excellency Mr. Ashraf Farhad Sikhalweb, the Ambassador of Embassy of Republic of Azerbaijan. Thank you very much, sir, for being here with us. I would request our President Sanjay Agarwal ji to welcome him with our plant which we always give to our guests. So I request our President to please welcome him. Thank you very much, sir. So I request His Excellency Mr. Ashraf to also give his special address, please.
Distinguished audience, distinguished members of panel. First of all, I would like to express gratitude to Phdcci for this wonderful opportunity to address such a distinguished audience, both in this hall and those who are watching us online. This is the useful links. Please take a look at them. They will give you a wonderful insight on how to do business in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is a country that is situated on the border of Europe and Asia. In a minute you will see it. Population of Azerbaijan is 10 million. On the north, its neighbor is Russia. On the west, Georgia, Armenia. On the south, Iran. Across the Caspian Sea, Kazakhstan. At the juncture of two transport corridors, north-south transport corridor coming from India to Iran, further to Azerbaijan, then to European countries, and east-west transport corridor coming from China to Central Asian countries, across the Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan, and further to European countries. So the transport infrastructure in Azerbaijan is very well developed. And if your companies are targeting the three very lucrative markets, European Union countries, CIS countries, and Georgia, and Persian Gulf countries, Azerbaijan gives you convenient access to those markets. So instead of producing the three markets, as I said, European Union, CIS and Georgian market, and Persian Gulf countries can shift their production to Azerbaijan. Now, just briefly, what is the trade between India and Azerbaijan? The trade between India and Azerbaijan in 2020 was imports of India from Azerbaijan were about $1 billion US. It was crude oil. And exports from India to Azerbaijan were around $136 million US. And that was the electronic machinery, rice and spices, and pharmaceuticals. Now, why to invest in Azerbaijan? If you take a look at the World Bank report, Azerbaijan on ease of doing business is on the 34th place. And as the World Bank report discontinues this series of doing business reports, this is the last one. So you should understand that Azerbaijan on ease of doing business is very high. And that survey was done among 190 countries of the world. If you take a look at the World Economic Forum report, the Davos World Economic Forum, on the government's long-term strategy, Azerbaijan is on the 10th place, and on the government's political stability agenda, which is very important for investors, it is on the 11th place. And the survey was among the 74 developing countries. Now, is it difficult to register for foreign investors the company in Azerbaijan? In 2 days, foreign investor can register his company in Azerbaijan. And he can have 100% ownership of the company. And there is no restrictions on foreign investments, on capital inputs and capital output, on repatriation of profits. So it can easily be done. Land by foreign investors cannot be owned in Azerbaijan, but can be leased up to 99 years. Before pandemic, I looked at statistics, and there were 450 Indian companies registered as taxpayers in Azerbaijan. During pandemic time, it increased. Now it is over 600 Indian companies and companies with Indian capital operating in Azerbaijan. Now, where to invest in Azerbaijan? There are 5 industrial parks. There are 4 industrial zones. There are 2 agri parks, 2 high technology parks. So depending on your line of business, you can choose the appropriate investment opportunities there. And in those industrial parks and agri parks, they offer you for 10 years exemption from income tax, on profit tax, on import of equipment. The VAT is exempted if you use that equipment for production purposes and for research and development. No property tax and no land tax for 10 years. That is at least for 10 years, because one of the industrial parks, it is Alyat-free economic zone. That is a next generation economic zone, and we will watch a brief video on that after my presentation. There are other opportunities. During victorious war of liberation of the territory of Azerbaijan in autumn 2020, Azerbaijan successfully returned territories that were under foreign occupation for almost 30 years. And when we returned the territories, we understood what I mean, a scope of work is standing before us. Do you know what the word herbicide means? I did not know this word, but I came to know what it means. It means purposeful destruction of cities. We'll see what it means in a minute. Now you watch what the herbicide is. You understand now, the buildings, destroyed buildings without roofs, that has to be rebuilt. So there will be large contracts to rebuild those territories. And people who were expelled from those territories, they are living in beautiful, one of the most beautiful capitals of the world, in Baku city. For them to return there, those territories have to be demined, and then the houses have to be constructed, but it should not be just the houses. There should be the hospitals, the schools, there should be created jobs, and the cities and villages should be modern cities and modern villages, should be smart villages. Otherwise, people are used to luxury, to comfortable life in Baku city. To go there, it should be very attractive for them. That is why the Honorable President of Azerbaijan, he announced that that liberated territories will be reconstructed, and that will be the green energy zone. What it means? It means that Indian construction companies, renewable energy companies, high-tech companies, information communication companies, they can take advantage of the opportunities that are opened in these liberated territories. So you can come on the contracts that will be announced, you can come as investors. And the last point is that Baku and Azerbaijan in general is very tolerant to foreign visitors. And you would find yourselves very comfortable there. In the center of Baku, you will find multiple Indian restaurants, and you will feel very at home. So come and do business in Azerbaijan. Thank you. And I invite you to watch a short video on the next generation free economic zone. It's Alyat Free Economic Zone. Thank you.
Imagine the next generation of free economic zone. A unique partnership between public and the private sector. At the crossroads between East and West and North and South, on the coast of Caspian Sea. Less than 65 kilometers from Baku and its international airport. Azerbaijan is a dynamic economy that offers investors competitive production costs, low cost and qualified labor force, significant oil and gas potential in the Caspian Sea, significant oil and gas exports to Turkey and Europe, connecting link between China and Europe through development of rail corridors, substantial foreign currency assets in the State Oil Fund of Azerbaijan, and favorable general business climate. A new next-generation free economic zone destination for the world's leading companies to invest and grow. This is Alyat Free Economic Zone. The Alyat Free Economic Zone has a total area of 7,000 hectares. The first 850 hectares has been master planned and is divided into 3 zones. Zone 1 focuses on light manufacturing industries. Zone 2 focuses on logistics and light manufacturing industries. And Zone 3 focuses on heavy manufacturing industries. The first phase of the development will consist of 60 hectares and contain logistic buildings, light manufacturing, custom plaza, authorities buildings. To build a next-generation free economic zone of the future, we started with hard infrastructure. We're developing pro-business regulations for a single regulator. We're applying smart city technologies. And we're connecting the zone by sea, road, rail and air. We're offering the following FDI incentives to our clients. 0% corporate tax rate, 0% customs and VAT on goods for export and import to free zone, trade facilitation-based customs regime, no foreign ownership restrictions, no restrictions on foreign currency or profits repatriation, ease of access to visas for foreign nationals, full investor protection, full protection of intellectual rights. Phdcci legislation consists of the law of the Republic of Azerbaijan on the Alat Free Economic Zone and Phdcci internal regulations based on Phdcci law. Specially designed internal regulations include, amongst others, those applying to tax, customs, company registration, licensing and permitting, physical and intellectual property rights, dispute resolutions, and etc. Azerbaijan has also made amendments in multiple relevant base economy laws. In particular, amendments are made in tax, customs, labor, immigration, licensing, dispute resolution, and more than 80 other laws of the base economy. Clearly acknowledge that the Phdcci law and internal regulations of Phdcci take preference over those laws of base economy. Our vocational industry training center, designed to prepare individuals for specialized occupations and make you work ready. It trains workers for a career in the technical field and helps develop and impart industry-specific skills you need to excel professionally. As part of incentives package potential investors approaching to the zone, Phdcci takes responsibility to prepare these people and introduce them to the investor. People will be trained in modern centers of vocational education in Baku, Gabustan, and Sumgait. Personnel Training Center, Baku. Training Center for Protection of Human Life at Sea, Baku. Gabustan Regional Training Center, Sumgait Training Center. In future, similar educational programs will be available at the higher educational centers like ADA University, Baku Higher Oil School, State Oil and Industry University, etc. Furthermore, Phdcci will construct its own training hub inside the zone. This is attracting world-leading logistic and manufacturing companies, which will provide job opportunities for the next generation of Azerbaijan citizens. Bring Azerbaijan closer to sustainable, diverse economic. Alat Free Economic Zone is on a firm path from concept to reality. We will have an operational zone with investors by July 2022. The master plan has been inspired by Baku City with its pedestrian-friendly streets, placemaking, and high standard of urban design. We have created strong neighborhoods that are connected by a series of pedestrian and cyclist greenway, which prioritize pedestrian and bicycle network and auto-free streets. These walkable streets and human-scale neighborhoods will build strong sense of communities with each of the zones. A smart app will provide real-time information to connect and inform employees and visitors. The standard plot size for logistic and standard manufacturing is 20,000 square meters. This is based on a medium-sized building of 10,000 square meters with 50% site coverage. This building would be capable of expansion by up to 100% and subdivision into 4 by 2,500 square meters or 2 by 5,000 square meters units to increase flexibility for clients. The standard plot sizes for heavy manufacturing is 100,000 square meters, which is based on a plot 200 meters width by 500 meters in length. Here at Alat Free Economic Zone, we have already achieved a great deal. We have a port. We have highways. We have rail. We have built key infrastructure to support industries. We have completed the master plan and guidelines for all 3 zones. We have commenced work of the first phase of development, which will open in July 2022. We have developed a single regulatory authority with a one-stop shop and pro-business environment, making us the ideal destination for your business. We are create wide-ranging career opportunities. We are building many sectors, but one sustainable economic. We are investing in our country's future and welcome you to join us on our journey.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for the address and also a very nice presentation. As I mentioned earlier also, we would like to definitely take another delegation to Azerbaijan and would also like to host a delegation from Azerbaijan to our chamber for B2B meets. So now I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Andrei Ruevsky, the Ambassador of the Republic of Belarus to India.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable PhD President, Mr. Agrawal. Ambassador in Belarus, distinguished guests, participants of the conference, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my appreciation for the opportunity to address you such a great event and to share some information about CIS countries and particularly my country and opportunities to cooperate between Belarus or CIS countries and India. Almost 30 years of existence, Commonwealth of Independent States countries have passed a long way on its formation, including the unification and integration of national economies. As a result, CIS country create a custom union, region economic community, common economic space, and other. Since to this, the economies of CIS countries began to change. Customs rules and import and export of goods were simplified. And the economic cooperation of the CIS countries increased. Now, CIS countries include 11 countries with almost 280 million people population and more than $2 trillion economies and enormous opportunities for business. It is a quite similar market structure of CIS countries. In India, we have taken a praiseworthy decision to make our economies complementary. But I believe that the potential between all sides is not fully exploited and new areas of cooperation are yet to be discovered. Implementation of free trade agreement between Eurasian Economic Union and India, as well as a project of north to south transport corridor, would enhance drastically for further development between countries and gain fruitful cooperation. The presidency of the Republic of Belarus in CIS in 2021 aims at improving the image of the organization in the international arena, establishing contacts and mutually beneficial cooperation with other regional organizations and integration association, reaching the creation of the wide Eurasian cooperation zone in order to strengthen friendship, good relation with neighbors, and mutually beneficial relation in the region itself. The Belarusian-Indian relation is one of the examples of friendship and comprehensive cooperation based on the principle of high trust and mutual benefit. Even during enormous pressure, which our country now tackled because of imposed sanctions by European Union and some other countries, including the United States, Canada, Great Britain, we never stopped to fulfill our business obligation toward our trade partners, including India. Speaking about bilateral ties in economic, trade and investment cooperation, it should be highlighted that these ties are rigid and stable, showing its progressive growth. I can give you some latest figures which illustrate this tendency and process. For example, over the last 5 years, the volume of export to India from Belarus increased by 1.5 times from 2,073 million US dollar to 404 million US dollar. Our trade turnover is rapidly increasing despite the consequences of COVID-19 related world economy shrinking. And during this difficult period, both sides were involved in exploring new areas of cooperation. For example, in mining field in 2020, was a breakthrough year when the last factory, which produced huge mining trucks, supplied 77 dump trucks with carrying capacity of 136 tons to the need of coal in India. All of them are already in operation at Indian coal mines. In January 2021, another contract for the supply of 96 Belarusian heavy dump trucks, more than 220 tons, was also signed with Coal India. Belarus can suggest a very prospective and mutually beneficial cooperation for Indian agricultural sector because we have a huge capacity of agricultural machinery and implements like tractors, harvesters, potato diggers and planters, seeders, round bottles, cultivator, etc., which can be used on Indian agricultural fields. Despite all objective and subjective obstacles, including European and American sanctions against Belarus, this year Minsk Tractors Works, it's our tractor producer factory, and Indian Irisha Agritech private limited company have signed an agreement on cooperation. And as per this agreement, it is expected that approximately 200 Belarusian tractors will be supplied by the end of this year to India. In addition to the tractor, we can supply different kind of implements and other agricultural machinery, and some agreements already reached with interesting Indian partners. Belarusian side, having experience in manufacturing electric buses, as well as implementation of electric bus project in public transport system in Belarus and abroad, some countries like Russia, Ukraine, and other, can participate in building up energy or environment-friendly, efficient transport system in India as well. We find very promising our large-scale cooperation in mining and oil project extraction industries. We have successfully implemented some projects already in India with Oil India in 2017, in the period of 2017-2021. Belarus is also attractive and safe destination for foreign investment. I would like to draw your attention to the following reason to invest in Belarus. First of all, it's direct access to market of Eurasian Economic Union with a single custom tariff, single rules of technical regulation, sanitary and phytosanitary norms. Second, it's strategically advantageous location of the crossroad of the main routes between EU and CIS, the Baltic and Black Seas. Then develop transportation and logistic infrastructure, qualified and experienced labor resources, and many other instructions which shows that Belarus can be used by Indian investors as a safe haven for promising projects. Belarusian government has proposed a number of preferential regimes for foreign businesses. Firstly, there are 6 free economic zones located in each region of Belarus. They are established for export-oriented production and located in specific territories. Free economic zones provide a special beneficial regime for residents, such as an exemption from land tax, real estate tax, and profit tax for the first 7 years since their registration. Today, it is possible to become a resident of free economic zone if you invest up to 500,000 euro to this zone. Investment cooperation between our countries is consistently progressing and growing. There are 3 investment projects at this moment in pharmaceutical with Indian participation. We do appreciate a lot technologies and resources invested into the development of such strategic area by the Indian side. Among these 3 major investment projects, we can single out the pharmaceutical project between Cipla company and Akatim Farm for transfer of technologies for the production of medicine for HIV and antiretroviral treatment. There are also a very important and very promising project which we can propose to Indian investors. It's a special economic zone which was created in Vitebsk region, Orsha district, the name Bremina Orsha Special Economic Zone. It was created in 2019. And it's provide a huge opportunities for investors who can be resident in this zone. In June 2020, Indian investor visited Bremina Orsha zone to form an agreement granting 100 million credit line to support its structural development allocated by the Indian government. However, for a number of reasons, the Indian credit line was not being utilized yet. But now, the Belarusian side has a list of projects suggested from Belarusian interested parties to utilize this credit line, including with Indian participation. And after reviving some condition with Belarusian and Indian experts, we are ready to consider the Bremina Orsha as an Indian investment cluster, similar to the cluster which we created with a Chinese capital under the name Great Stone. This project shows a huge potential for not only for investors, but as well for our country and our as well. And other issue which I would like to touch upon is IT sector. Belarus is famous for its IT sector. In global IT rank, Belarus occupied 2nd position in Europe in technological development. Belarus demonstrates outstanding indicators in subcategories of programming, mobile and web development, software development, and theoretical informatics. Even the world-famous computer game World of Tanks was performed by Belarusian development company Wargaming. Over the last several years, Belarus is becoming popular as a leading developer in IT. This has mostly become possible due to its high-tech park, which offers the best condition for setting up developing businesses. The Silicon Valley of Eastern Europe, the world center of artificial intelligence development, paradise for IT sector. These are just a few examples of high-tech park assessment by a number of reputable foreign media outlets, including the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, and Financial Times. Preferential terms of high-tech park with separate institutes of British law are provided for the residents and exterritoriality basis. Belarus has the first ever jurisdiction with complex legal regulation of businesses on the basis of blockchain technology. Today, High-Tech Park has more than 1,000 residents and more than 71,000 employees. Foreign direct investments in 2020 amounted to $331 million. High-tech park resident companies may operate within 37 types of activities, from advanced solutions in the sphere of artificial intelligence to the development of top-level software, engineering solution, games, and mobile application. IT for health care, agriculture, fitness, banking software, laser technologies, and many, many, many. We welcome India side to join our IT park, take a lot of advantages and benefits. Belarus also stimulates biotechnology, technologies, and cyber sport. We have a great potential for extending our bilateral relation in many sectors of economy as mutually complementary economies of our countries and developing steadily. I suggest to get acquainted to all our stall with some actual investment project on which Indian potential investor could participate. Many thanks for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for giving an exhaustive presentation and telling us the potentials available for Indian companies in Belarus. As we are also thankful to you, we already got 10 companies from Belarus who have shown interest. So in the second half, we are having one-to-one B2B meets virtual with them. So definitely we look forward to have more interactions with you. And just to update, recently with the Uganda High Commission, our International Affairs Division has done a roadshow for them. The first one was last month in Chennai for 3 days, where they invited the local Indian participants there, and the complete team from the Uganda High Commission, as well as their ministers from Uganda, Kampala, they all joined from different sectors, industry, energy, renewable, tourism. And it was a very good interaction for 3 days in Chennai. And just last week, it was in Jaipur. And it was a thumping success. So we look forward to have those kind of road shows, very closely working with all of you, so that we can reach out to the right potential and tell them what are the possibilities for Indian companies in those regions where we can participate with you. And maybe your companies can also participate for having joint ventures with India here, so that we can do such activities. So that was just a food for thought, and we'll definitely work very closely with you on that part. So now to proceed further, I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Nurlal Jalagospev, the Ambassador, Embassy of Republic of Kazakhstan to India. Please address us.
Thank you very much for President Agarwal, Excellencies, ladies. First of all, sincere appreciation to the leadership of Chamber of Commerce. Excellent organization of this conference. It's brilliant exchange of topics related to bilateral trade and investments, joint efforts, trusted and active partners. Recognize the impact of the COVID-19 since nevertheless, the results of this year show a gradual rise in some regions. In terms of crisis measures, the total amount of funds by Pakistan government 2000 with the considering but not limited loss of local budgets, additional funding of state programs, support of business, including soft loans, subsidy of interest rate, tax postpone and reimbursement, financing of healthcare system, tax deferral, social assistance payment. And despite the difficulties, we are consistently The National Bank of Kazakhstan predicts that the country's economy will grow by 3.4, 3.7% in this year, the further acceleration to 3.7, 4% next year. According to the international experts, economic growth in Kazakhstan will be at the level of 3.4% in 2021 and 0.8% next year. In terms of trade, against continuing negative trends in the global economy, this year, the first half of 2021 brought positive dynamics to the Kazakhstan's foreign trade, with turnover for 5 months of this year amounted to $36.4 billion. In terms of logistics, the accessibility to the routes essential to our trade channels, where we recognize the need for active use of South international transport corridors that will help to increase trade between our regions and diversify the range of goods in bilateral trade. As for investments, over 30 years of independence, Kazakhstan has attracted more than $300 billion of foreign investments from the United States, Russia, China, Switzerland, and thus, despite the foreign direct investments increases in the global economy in 2020 by 35%, according to the World Investments Report by UNCTAD. Last year, Kazakhstan managed to attract $17.1 billion of foreign direct investment. Over the past 10 years, the average annual inflow of foreign direct investments to Kazakhstan was about 24 billion, excluding the crisis of 2015 last year. And our strategic goal is to bring the volume of investments in fixed assets to at least 30% of GDP by 2025. Today, I can note that Kazakhstan and India are becoming more and more open for mutual interactions. Common interests and rapid economic growth of both nations open up broad perspectives for constructive and mutually beneficial partnership in terms of political, economic, and military cooperation. Currently, our cooperation with India is focused on achieving specific goals and tasks that are defined as bilateral meetings. As an outcome, there were implemented a number of joint mechanisms, such as Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, with 13 joint sessions took place today, and 6 joint working groups operating already. Also, military technical cooperation joint group, also joint group on economic, scientific, and technical cooperation, on the development of human capital. In this regard, I would like to especially note the positive dynamics of the development of trade and investment relations between our countries. As you all know, Kazakhstan is India's main trade economic partner in Central Asia. The total trade turnover between our countries in 2020 amounted to $2.4 billion, which is 27.3% higher compared to 2019. As for now, there are 491 joint ventures with Indian capital are registered in Kazakhstan, 291 in general. For 10 months, agriculture and education, healthcare today. Allow me just to list several areas of activities to create a favorable investment climate in my country. Of prospective investment projects according to the Kazakh Invest catalog that are looking for potential investors with all the project papers available, teasers, business, feasibility study, and so on. To have them, you are welcome to apply to Kazakh Invest website, www.invest.gov.kz, or contact directly to Kazakh Invest representative. Investments in incentives. Kazakhstan has a bundle of incentives to offer specific to investment track sectors and amount that includes following: tax exemptions, wise-based that offer preferential conditions, 31 industrial zones all over the country with plug-and-play infrastructure. In January this year, Kazakhstan have made the adjustments to the legal framework that gives a right to investor to conclude an investment agreement with the government of Kazakhstan without ratification by parliament. The investment agreement encompasses large projects with a volume of investments above $50 million in strategically important sectors such as pharmaceutical and production of medical devices. Unlike other existing investment mechanisms, large investors will be able to negotiate terms directly with the government for each project individually. The agreement provides with the stability of legislation for the period.
Is in the chamber which we started called GTI, Global Trade and Investment Series, which specifically with the country's investment boards, we invite them to make presentations and roadshows to our members. So that also we would like to discuss with you, that when can we do that, so that we can invite our members and have one-to-one interaction with Kazakh Invest and the agencies from there with our interested members. So thank you very much. Now, as we have His Excellency Shri Alok Ranjan Jha, the Ambassador of India to Belarus with us, I would like to invite him for his address. His Excellency, Mr. Jha, please.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ambassador Anil Wadhwa, Chair, Phdcci Ambassadors Economic Forum. Shri Sanjay Agarwal, President, Phdcci. Shri Damu Ravi, Secretary ER, Ministry of External Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, just a couple of short disclaimers. One is, I'm less than 2 months old in Belarus. So if there's anything in my presentation which appears out of order, I hope you'll pardon me for that. And secondly, I see the list of speakers, and my good friend Ambassador Andrei Bezuski has spoken before me. Given that we are talking about the same thing, there would be some commonalities. Kindly bear with me for that. So let me start by mentioning a fact which in itself is not of much significance. So Belarus is a relatively small country with 9.5 million people. However, this should not discourage those looking to initiate or enhance their business presence in this part of the world. And I'll just explain this in the next few minutes, what I exactly mean by this. So a quick overview of Belarus. Belarus, as you all know, is located between Russia on its east and Poland on its west. It shares its northern border with 2 of the 3 Baltic republics, Lithuania and Latvia, and shares a long over 1,000-kilometer long border with Ukraine to its south. The idea of this is to give you an estimate of how crucial Belarus's location is in terms of it as in terms of the country as an investment destination. Of all its neighbors, Belarus shares the strongest political and economic ties with Russia. The two nations agreed to create a union state in the late 1990s, and since then, several steps have been taken to deepen their ties. Belarus is a member of the Eurasian Economic Union, an economic grouping of 5 former CIS countries that came into existence in 2015. That is the other reason why Belarus's own small population size should not deter our business community from thinking of Belarus as a trade and investment partner. After its independence in 1991, Belarus has pursued a gradual transition path with limited structural reforms and some expansion of the private sector. I'll get back to this particular issue later in my presentation. The economic development of last 2 decades was accompanied by a significant fall in household below national poverty line today. This advantageous location is also complemented by a developed transportation and logistics infrastructure linking the European Union with the Eurasian Economic Union. Now that is extremely important. Sometimes what happens is, despite your geo-strategic location, the connections backward and forward linkages are not available, and that kind of limits the economic importance of a place. Belarus is blessed with the location as well as communication, which are transportation and logistic infrastructure, which I just talked about. Belarus, as a member of the EU, offers a common customs territory, ensuring free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor across the national boundaries of Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia. This also provides FDIs. The manufactured goods can be freely exported, preferential terms of land lease, free disposition of currency earnings. Resident companies are registered by FEZ administration, provided they're placed to invest at least $1 million. Reduced paperwork, the documents are processed within 2 weeks, and denial of registration of a resident company can be challenged in a court. This, as a set of attractive packages from free economic zone, is something which our investors would consider. Secondly, if you invest in rural communities, there are provisions there. Organizations and self-employed businessmen who are located in rural areas are exempt from profit tax and tax on income from selling products and services which are manufactured or rendered in rural areas, and are exempt from tax on real estate which is located in rural areas. They get discounts on license fees, are exempt from state fee for amending the license, and are exempt from import customs duties and value-added tax on the cost of manufacturing equipment, component, and spare parts. Thirdly, there is something called a high-tech park, which I think Ambassador Phdcci also referred to. This high-tech park is a tax and legal regime contributing to the favorable development of IT business, information technology business. Preferential terms are granted to resident companies of the high-tech park. The main facilities are exemption from taxes, duties, and other mandatory fees paid to the national budget, special budget and non-budget funds from sales proceeds, exemption from income tax, exemption from value-added tax on sales turnover, exemption from land tax for the duration of construction, maximum period of 3 years, exemption from real estate tax, exemption from customs duties and VAT on goods imported for IT business, 9% tax on income of employees without including it into the annual total income. This again is a set of provisions which can be attractive for investors. Apart from these, Belarus is also a safe place to invest because it guarantees a few things to foreign investors. The investment code of Belarus provides for support of foreign investors and guarantees from the government. Investors are guaranteed a discrimination-free environment with protection of their rights and interests, regardless of the ownership and national status. Investments cannot be nationalized. Now that you would agree is something extremely important. The government guarantees the investor the right to independently manage the results of investment activities, including reinvestment of profits and repatriation of profit outside of Belarus after payment of taxes and other obligatory charges. Guarantees are provided to investors under bilateral agreement with India on avoidance of double taxation. Belarus also has a national agency for investment and privatization. Some of the common areas which hold immense promise, some of them are already Indian organizations, Indian entities are working, but there is sufficient potential to increase Indian investment. And the most promising areas to invest in Belarus are information and communication technology, pharmaceuticals, food and food processing industries, biotechnology, high-tech industry, nanotechnologies, equipment manufacturing, agriculture, and construction. Apart from this, one particular industry which in my stay of less than 2 months there, I think requires special attention is tourism. There is immense potential, and the tourist figures between India and Belarus are much, much below their potential. So our colleagues from the tourism industry who might be watching this, my special request to you, if you can prioritize Belarus, advertise it, do something special for this place. It's an amazingly beautiful country. A country with more than 11,000 lakes, more than 40% of the country is covered in green forests. It's a great setting for shooting of Indian films, because I understand nothing promotes tourism in India than a Bollywood film. So if Bollywood decides to come and shoot some of its films in Belarus, that would make this a great tourist destination, and I hope this happens soon. Just one small point towards the end, which I found a bit of a flip side, is the fact that the process of privatization is somewhat relatively slow. Government owns a large share of property in the economy. This can at times lead to a situation where government is both the owner and the regulator. So there could be conflict of interest, but it's not a problem that is insurmountable. It's something which we can find our way around. I will stop here, but before I go, I'll make a request to Phdcci to kindly include Belarus in your calendar of visits of your delegation this year or the coming year, and I promise you that we'll be more than happy to host them here in Minsk and other cities of Belarus. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Excellency. But I must say that, as you just mentioned, you have there in Belarus for the last 2 or 3 months. But the kind of in-depth information which you have just now shared shows that you have been there. And as you mentioned, that we will definitely mount a delegation to Belarus. And as per your advice, definitely come over there, sir. And if any delegation is planning to come to India, we would like to host in PhD and take that further, sir. Thank you very much, Excellency, once again for your time.
Thank you.
Now I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Aktov Dilshod Khamadevich, the Ambassador of Embassy of Uzbekistan, who is also there with us virtually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It is okay with the voice?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, dear Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, Excellencies, dear colleagues, distinguished speakers. It's a great honor for me to greet all of the participants of the second international conference and exhibition on destination CIS. I'm very thankful to the leadership of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for taking the initiative of organizing this event, which will definitely contribute to the further development of mutually beneficial cooperation between CIS countries and India. Dear friends, the strengthening of long-term strategic partnership with India is one of the priorities of Uzbekistan's foreign policy. During the past 4 years, Uzbek-Indian cooperation has reached new heights, very close and sincere friendship between our leaders, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, Honorable President of Uzbekistan, and Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, as a main solid foundation of traditional strategic partnership between Uzbekistan and India. Visit of the President of Uzbekistan to Gujarat in January 2019 and his participation in the Global Investment Forum, Vibrant Gujarat 2019 as a chief guest, opened new opportunities for the development of cooperation in the spheres of trade and investment between Uzbekistan and India, and virtual summit between President of Uzbekistan and Prime Minister of India was held in December last year. In the framework of this summit, a joint statement on close friendship and strong partnership was adopted, and 9 documents on cooperation in different priority areas were signed. The bilateral agreements reached and the documents signed within the framework of these events have laid a solid foundation for our partnership in the near and medium term. Now bilateral relations encompass a wider canvas, including on political strategic issues, trade and investment, energy, agriculture, IT, education and people-to-people ties, etc. As you know, over the last 4 years, Uzbekistan has been doing a lot to gain the further confidence of foreign investors, and this can be demonstrated in its implementations of the large scale of economic and structural reforms. These reforms have made a positive impact on creating more friendly and convenient environment for foreign companies to do business in our country. Dear friends, despite the negative consequences of the global crisis due to pandemic, the economy of Uzbekistan has shown stability, and the available economic growth potential and the timely adopted anti-crisis measures made it possible to avoid a recession and to maintain positive dynamics by the end of 2020. In last year, Uzbekistan's GDP increased by 1.6% and amounted to $56 billion. Reforms in Uzbekistan during the last years has made the country a more appealing destination for international capital. According to the UNCTAD's 2020 World Investment Report, FDI inflows increased significantly in 2020 to $2.3 billion compared to 2018. Total FDI stock stood at $9.5 billion in 2020. Uzbekistan ranked 69th in the World Bank 2020 doing business, same as the previous year. The country is among the economies that improved the most across 3 or more doing business reports. Realizing these opportunities, Indian entrepreneurs are achieving a noticeable economic presence in Uzbekistan in almost all sectors. Currently, there are about 330 enterprises with the participation of Indian capital in Uzbekistan, including 210 enterprises with 100% Indian capital. These economic and strategic partnerships are driving strong and robust growth despite the complex global pandemic situation. As of 2020, trade turnover between Uzbekistan and India reached to $443 million, with increase of about 25%. But anyway, unfortunately, there are some barriers for boosting or expanding the volume of bilateral trade, which should be removed, of course. For example, high customs duties or not so good transport connectivity, and so on and so on. The economy, in Uzbekistan over the past 3 years with Indian partners in the priority areas of investment cooperation, more than 10 investment projects worth $42 million have been realized, and more than 20 projects worth $590 million are being implemented now. It should be noted that the economic and trade potential of the two countries is not fully used. Both sides need to intensify efforts to develop concrete measures to increase the volume of, as I mentioned, mutual trade, carrying marketing research shows that there are the great opportunities which we have to take advantage of in investment area, for example, pharmaceuticals industry. Our president pays special attention to the development of this sector in Uzbekistan. This is confirmed by the pharmaceutical free economic zones establishment for the further development of the sector of economy of the last over the last 4 years on the territory of 6 regions of Uzbekistan. There were created 7 pharmaceutical free economic and 1 farm cluster. All conditions of communication, gas, electricity, water brought to the territories of the pharmaceutical economic zones and free economic zones. But the main advantage of these zones, this exemption of participants from almost all taxes related to the conduct of production activities. Taking into account the high priority of Uzbekistan and India cooperation on pharmaceuticals industry, in 2019, pharmaceutical free economic zone Andijan Farm was established in the Andijan region of Uzbekistan, designed primarily for Indian investors. Today, in these pharmaceutical economic free zones, with the participation of Indian pharmaceuticals companies, more than 10 investment projects are implementing for a total amount more than 60 million US dollars. Uzbekistan is highly interested in attracting Indian investments and advanced technologies to produce modern competitive drugs and creation of modern laboratory and research centers focused on the development of original drugs, but as well as in vaccine area also. I would like to note that through implementing such projects, Indian companies will gain access to the Uzbek market, over 35 million people, which has the largest population in Central Asia. At the same time, through free trade agreements of Uzbekistan with the CIS countries and Georgia, they can gain market access of more than 300 million consumers. Second area, it is the textile industry. As you are aware, the textile and clothing and nightwear are strategically important industries for the economy of both Uzbekistan and India. Uzbekistan has proven a competitive advantage in the textile sector because of its relatively cheaper skilled labor, as well as cheap rate electricity cost, allows manufacturers to reduce total costs of production. At the same time, textile companies in Uzbekistan can buy cotton at a 10% discount compared to the price of on the world market. Enterprises in the textile industries receive support in the form of cancelling the customs payment for imported raw materials and equipment which are not produced in our country. In April this year, the European Union has accepted Uzbekistan as the 9th beneficiary country of the special incentive arrangement for sustainable development and good governance, GSP+. The European Union started applying preferential tariffs for products imported from Uzbekistan under these arrangements from 10th of April this year. So we call on potential Indian companies producing high-tech textile equipments and companies with world-famous textile brands to use these opportunities and implement joint beneficial investment projects. Third one, it is education. We note with great satisfaction the dynamics of the development of educational cooperation. The branches of Amity and Sharda universities are very popular among the Uzbek youth. In September 2020, Bukhara State Medical Institute signed a memorandum with the University of Noida International on the opening of its branch in this Indian university. Currently, a decree of president was adopted on establishment in Jizak region of Uzbekistan, a branch of one of the leading Indian IT universities, the Sambram Institute of Technology from Bengaluru, where future ICT specialists will be trained, including software developers, specialists in computer engineering and information system management. Regarding IT, in July 2019, the Technological Park of Software Products and Information Technology IT Park was created in Tashkent with the assistance of the Society of Software Technology Parks of India. And 2020 and 21 branches of this IT park were opened in a number of cities and regions of Uzbekistan, for example, Andijan, Jizak, Gulistan, etc. Active work in this direction continues. Next area, it is handicrafts. We also have to enforce cooperation and partnership between our handcrafts. Handcrafts in India are being made from centuries, and people around the world love these. They are skilled employees whose profession relies on manual skills. Association Hunarmand, it is a handicraft association in Uzbekistan, has about 20,000 craftsmen working on 25 directions of applied arts and produce more than 1,000 types of products. On the basis of the special degree of President of Uzbekistan, those who are engaged of the individual labor activity are free of fixed tax as well as customs payments for the items sold aboard, establishing close cooperation between our crafts for the benefit of both countries. We think so. And next area, it is the fresh and dried fruits. There are a wide range of products which both sides may offer to each other. One of them is fresh and dried fruits. The continental climate of Uzbekistan, where there are 300 sunny days a year and fertile soil is well suited for growing more than 350 types of fruits, vegetables, nuts and beans, herbs and melons. Uzbekistan exports 180 types of agricultural products to more than 80 countries around the world. The 5 key countries important Uzbek fruits and vegetables include Russia, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Afghanistan. Today, exporters of Uzbekistan are increasing the volume of supplies to the South Korea, the Baltic states, some other European countries, Persian Gulf countries, and so on. Uzbekistan also exports various dried fruits and nuts to India, but carrot marketing research shows that there are great opportunities in this area which we have to take advantage of. Next area, it is tourism. Uzbekistan is a multi-profile tourism country which can offer a wide range of tourism directions and sites for tourists. In 2019, according to the Solo Travel Safety Report 2019, Uzbekistan was in 5th place in this ranking out of 142 countries. There are lots of historical sites, 2,700 years old ancient cities, a lot of options to visit with families, for example, most of them under the list of UNESCO World Heritage. Wherever you are about large potential of Uzbekistan in pilgrimage or ziara tourism, ecotourism, culinary tourism, new infrastructures for winter sport lovers, and so on. Undoubtedly, the quarantine measures all over the world, as well as in our countries due to pandemic, have affected the traditionally intensive tourist exchange between Uzbekistan and India. But despite the ongoing pandemic, we are taking practical steps to provide full service for foreigner tourists now, taking into account the tourism sector is main part of economy of Uzbekistan, and as well as India, we propose to organize joint events, including online format for further boosting of tourism flow in both directions from India to Uzbekistan and vice versa. And for information, since March of this year, from Delhi to Tashkent, there are 2 direct flights per week in framework within the air bubble agreement. Dear friends, it's extremely important to consolidate our efforts in above mentioned areas, as well as assisting our respective companies to find proper partners, develop and implement mutually beneficial projects and solve any issues arising in this direction. The demand of the implementation of these tasks is closely linked with the Indian foreign economic priorities to strengthen its position in the world and as a major trade and industrial power of Asia. In this context, it should be emphasized that New Delhi is already among the top 10 trade partners of our region and their participants. I am confident that regular organization of such events is a huge opportunity for the entrepreneurs of our countries to get acquainted the prospective areas of mutual beneficial cooperation, including the implementation of joint projects in trade and investment. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for giving the presentation. As you mentioned, I would just also like to bring to the notice of all that we have been working very closely with Uzbekistan Embassy. The predecessors of yours, sir, we have done a lot of delegations. We have taken our delegations to Uzbekistan, and especially from Punjab, where there is a direct flight from Amritsar to Tashkent. So a lot of our members have participated in those delegations. In fact, we have also hosted delegations, and MOU was also signed with the Andejan province, where in this chamber we had the privilege of having the ambassador there, and the Andejan province mayor was also here. So we had an MOU exchange that time also. So we look forward to work very closely with you also on this, sir, and take more delegations to your country and host those delegations here in India. Thank you very much once again, Excellency. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Azmat, Councillor from the Embassy of Kyrgyz Republic, to give his address, please.
Thank you, Mr. Seth. Overall, Your Excellencies, I'm very pleased to deliver a speech at today's event dedicated to the further development of cooperation between countries and India. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the Phdcci Chamber of Commerce for great efforts so far. The work carried out by your organization makes an invaluable contribution to strengthening representatives of the business community in trade, economic, investment, and other sectors. I'm sure that the results of this event will make a significant contribution to the further development of cooperation between our. Concerning the investment opportunities in the Kyrgyz Republic, I would like to note the following. Geographically, Kyrgyzstan occupies a very important strategic point, being at the junction of important trade, transport, and air roads. The Kyrgyz Republic grants the right to the 5th degree of air freedom to all countries that have expressed a desire to make international flights to Kyrgyzstan. Through Kyrgyzstan, it is possible to carry out transit flights and cargo transportation not only to the main cities of Central Asia countries, but also to the northwestern part of China and to the south, central, Siberian, Ural federal districts of Russian Federation. Kyrgyzstan is a developing country, consistently carrying out market reform. In 1998, Kyrgyzstan joined the World Trade Organization. This served a good basis for the development of legal framework in the field of commercial relations with foreign countries. In 2015, Kyrgyzstan officially joined the Eurasian Economic Union, a population of more than 280 million. Within the Union, there is a zone of free movement of services, capital, and labor. It means that investing in Kyrgyzstan will provide access to the Union market also. In January 2016, the European Union granted Kyrgyzstan the right to the Generalized System of Preferences, GSP+. Today, the products of Kyrgyzstan for more than 6,000 commodity items can be imported from Kyrgyzstan to European Union member states without any custom duties. In 2015, the Kyrgyz Republic was first assigned a sovereign credit rating from the reputable rating agencies Moody's, B2 Stable, and the S&P B Stable. This allows potential investors to more accurately identify opportunities of investing into Kyrgyzstan. The Kyrgyz Republic proposed very favorable conditions for effective activity and of foreign investors. Our country has liberal tax regime in the income tax rate is 10% and VAT tax rate is only 20%. Established business and enterprises are exempt from property tax, land tax, income tax, and sales tax for 5 years. Amendments were made to the main law of investment of the Kyrgyz Republic on the stabilization regime. It means that an investor in Kyrgyz Republic will be protected even if the amendments to the tax legislation of the Kyrgyz Republic would be made in the future. The Institute of Business Ombudsman was created to protect the legitimate interests of entrepreneurs and investors. According to the World Bank Doing Business 2015 report, the Kyrgyz Republic ranks 9th in the Business Startup Index. It takes only 2 procedures to open a company in Kyrgyz Republic within 5 working days. I also would like to emphasize the following advantages. The lowest cost of electricity in the region, which is only about 2 rupees for industrial purposes and 0.07 rupees for population per 1 kilowatt. Highly qualified and educated population, which means highly qualified work labor, favorable geographic location, social trade regimes, and duty-free access to the market with a population of over 1 billion people from the countries of Central Asia, CIS countries, World Trade Organization members. Society of worldwide interbank financial telecommunication is successfully operating in Kyrgyzstan. It means that there are no restrictions on the export of capital or income to abroad. The economic zones in our country provide great opportunities for doing business in the region. The economic zones activity also provides a number of advantages, such as exemption from all taxes, fees, and other payments, custom duties on goods from quotas and licensing. In addition, simplified entry and exit of foreign workers, less check of business entity, and direct access to the necessary infrastructure for work. I would like to emphasize that the protection of investors is under personal control of President Honorable Mr. Sadir Japarov. The government of Kyrgyz Republic is open to cooperation on all issues of ensuring the security and protection of foreign investors. The leadership of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kyrgyz Republic is also ready to hold meetings with the heads of diplomatic missions of foreign states on a regular basis to discuss all existing issues. Dear participants, we are very positive and optimistic about further strengthening trade and economic ties with the annual growth in trade between India and Kyrgyzstan also contributes to our mutual interest. The market of Kyrgyz Republic is becoming attractive to Indian investors and businessmen from year to year. Today, more than 300 companies with the participation of Indian side successfully operate in Kyrgyzstan in various fields. Nevertheless, trade and economic relations between Kyrgyzstan and India have a huge potential. In this direction, between our countries, there are all opportunities for development. First of all, mutually beneficial countries. Successfully operating and developing joint ventures and Indian enterprises in the Kyrgyz Republic in the field of medicine, tourism, agriculture, and etc. are vivid examples. Only in recent years, the Indian Salam Namaste was opened in Bishkek by Indian company ADM Hospitality and Services. The construction of Hotel Altin Taj on the southern shore of Lake Isyk-Kul was completed by Indian company RK Infrabuild Pvt. A gypsum plant is successfully operating in the Isyk-Kul region. A number of other projects are implementing. Concerning the concrete sectors of Kyrgyz Republic, I would like to mention the following. Tourism sector. Kyrgyzstan has a great potential in tourism sector due to its nature. We have many reserves, biosphere zones, resorts, and recreational facilities. Huge opportunities for ecotourism, mountaineering, hunting, and other types of outdoor activities. Kyrgyz Republic is located in the northeastern part of Central Asia, the heart of Eurasian continent. Almost 90% of its territory is located over 1,050 meters above sea level. The country has a great tourism potential, which covers 22 different ecosystems, 160 varieties of mountain and lowland landscapes, 94% of the territory is occupied by mountains, among which are famous mountain peaks such as Pabeda Peak, Lenin Peak, and Hantengdi Peak. 1,923 beautiful lakes, the largest of which is Lake Isiku, largest and deepest mountain lake in the world. More than 40,000 rivers and streams, one of the main sources of which is meltwater from mountain glaciers. Kyrgyzstan became undisputed leader in the ranking of the best travel destination of Pacific Traveler Awards in 2014 in the Wellness Vacation nominee. British Financial Times in 2015 added Kyrgyzstan in the list of 7 countries worth with National Geographic Traveler magazine named Istanbul one of the best places to travel in 2015. Kyrgyz Republic has a great potential for the development of agricultural sector due to favorable climate. In Kyrgyzstan, it is possible to grow from 35 to 160 centners per 1 hectare of main crops, which is a very good indicator of agricultural prospects. In economic context, the Kyrgyz Republic can meet all the requirements for the production of ecologically clean agricultural products. The agricultural products of Kyrgyz Republic grown in natural conditions are in great demand in other countries. Kyrgyzstan annually exports agricultural products worth of more than $80 million US dollars. It is very pleasing to note that the export of agricultural products of the Kyrgyz Republic to India has been growing from year to year. Kyrgyz ecological clean agricultural products such as walnut, honey, dried fruit, and etc. are very highly valued in India. The mining and the metallurgical industry is presented by highly profitable production focused on export products. Kyrgyz Republic has extensive experience in mining and qualified personnel. These industries provide 30% of all industry production in Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan has large proven reserves of gold, tungsten, tin, antimony, mercury, rare earth metals, and other minerals. The new law of the Kyrgyz Republic on subsoil also provides great opportunities for investors and allows them to actively participate in the development of mineral resources in Kyrgyzstan. Our country also has great potential in the oil and gas industry, with a number of undeveloped oil and gas fields. Textile and clothing industries are the most developed in the light industry of Kyrgyzstan. The domestic market of Kyrgyzstan is quite small. Therefore, the light industry of Kyrgyz Republic is export-oriented. More than 90% of light industry products labeled made in Kyrgyzstan are exported to other countries. Hydropower. Kyrgyzstan has great potential for hydropower, which is 142 billion kilowatt per year. Currently, only 10% of potential is being. Given the global trend toward clean energy sources, we urge all partners to explore and invest in the hydropower potential. We prepared more than 50 invest projects on hydropower sectors, and it finds a great interest in India also. In conclusion of my speech, I would like to call all of you upon an open dialogue on concrete proposals to improve cooperation between our countries, action and investment sphere. Union of PhD members, very important to us, since European point of view, business who create jobs, pay taxes, they will be making contribution to the development of. As the representatives of our government of Kyrgyz Republic, we are ready to create the most favorable conditions for running your projects in the Kyrgyz provide maximum assistance. Thank you for your.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azmat, for your presentation. As we mentioned earlier, we definitely would like to discuss with you so the delegation which we are planning in November, that we can have details from you on that. Now I would like to invite Mr. Muradek Aslam Zoda from the Embassy of Republic of Tajikistan to give his address.
headquarters in our bilateral relations with India and are interested in their further socio-economic achievement of India have been impressive. Wish further development and prosperity for regional and country. Have already contributed to socio-economic development and the new national hydrogen energy mission, which successfully by show that India has become one of the global leaders in environment. I think we should, thinking directly about my country, I would like to note that for the implementation of projects in transport, agriculture, trade and services, the investment and business, encouraging direct investment ensures sustainable national economy. Through the investment climate, business environment, in particular to information and review, license, permits and certificates, which is a part of e-governance, now is the main task of the government of Tajikistan. 2019, President of Tajikistan said that the four strategic goals the government has speed in the society. Tajikistan is opening its door more widely for industries and companies to invite they conduct business. The government has already undertaken efforts to make the current legislation of Tajikistan provides 110 types of which 92 preferences are fiscal. They remind 17 inclusive of financial. India is an industrial development country. Industry represents more than 30% of your GDP. India manufactures a significant quality of textile, machinery, pharmaceutical product, IT, a good potential. A company and have numerous opportunities like business. Now is strongly fighting foreign investors following industrial sector, mining and precious metals. That the Tajikistan is a mountain which is rich with minerals. There is access to those resources. The geological survey have been conducted at the have been there are several mining and processing in the metallurgical industries gradually developed. Second priority sector of industry for Tajikistan is the light industry. As our colleagues said, that the local raw materials such as cotton, leather, effective use to electricity, of production of sub-rented products have been identified as the government policy on promoting the creation, renewing existing has yielded positive results. New infrastructure and facilities such as cotton fiber. The number of light industry prices increased. 2001. The third range of which is important for country. The main basic of this sector is available of local raw materials and the improvement of living. Fourth is food for the product oil, non-vegetable bread. It should be noted that one of the four strategic goals of the stable and quality food, using of the modern foreign technology, for operation has contributed increasing. F5, it's the IT industry is a and the institutional framework of this development of the education infrastructure for speeding up the education process of the nation. Expansion of e-government process, here's the Agency of Innovation. Tajikistan start process and taking into account that the significant onset experience, Tajikistan welcome all engaged in the rapid potential sector. The important areas of current health challenges has a good potential establishment of pharmaceutical enterprises with the implication of the best practice of Indian specialists may widely use the healing herb of Tajikistan and create a good opportunity of while more than 80% of medicines in Tajikistan marketed are imported, there are good opportunities for investing in this. In this regard, Tajikistan stands ready to cooperate with Indian investors for the development of private healthcare. And thank you for your attention. Welcome to Tajikistan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murad Beg, for your presentation. Friends, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the officials from the South Africa High Commission. Thank you very much for being here, as we work very closely with them. So they are here just to see that the hybrid edition, so that we can work together on that part. And I would also like to welcome Shri Pramod Vakodeji, our president from the Tea Coffee Association, who are supporting the activities which we are doing here. Thank you, Pramodji, for being here. Before we conclude and I invite our Secretary General to give the vote of thanks, I would like to take this opportunity to show you the platform, the virtual platform on where we are doing the B2B meets. So I request my technical team if they can showcase. So this is the lobby which you, once you register, it is phdcci-hybridmeet.com. Once you register, this is the lobby where you enter. And if you go to that destination CIS auditorium, if you click on that, so this is the auditorium live they can see as of now. If we go back, we have lobby. You can come back to the lobby. You go to the exhibition area. These are the booths which are displayed there. If you can open one of the booths, Mayank. This is how the booth looks. You can display your visiting card there, your product catalogs, brochures, the videos. So these all are already there. So you can showcase to people that this is what we are. When we are not able to go physically in the exhibition, this is one way of connecting with people. This is how you can have one-to-one meetings also. Video meetings can also happen in that. Go back to the lobby again. If you see on the left side, B2B meeting area is also there. If you click on that, we have made 3 different rooms. So exclusive meetings will be happening in this. So we can have one-to-one video meetings where you can have, I think, personalized meeting which actually happens when you go to the physical exhibitions. So this is how immediately after, when we close this, after the lunch, the B2B meetings and these meeting rooms will be used. People who have already showcased their booth, who have registered for the meetings, will be participating in this and seeing this. I thought I'll just take this opportunity and show you. Next 2 days also we are doing the Grulac and the India UK. So those people are also registered in this and they can see that. Thank you, Mayank, for this. Now I would, and before I invite SG sir, because we are running short of time, so we have a lot of questions which we will be compiling and sending to all the relevant embassies and get their views on that and go back to the participants virtually who have sent us all those queries. So now I would like to invite Shri Saurabh Sanyal, the Secretary General PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to give his concluding remarks and vote of thanks.
Thank you, Naveen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me once again thank each one of you for having spared your valuable time for this very important initiative of the Chamber, second International Conference and Exhibition on Destination CIS, with the theme of Partnerships for Inclusive Growth. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. Our gratitude and thanks to all the excellencies of the CIS countries in New Delhi and the heads of Indian missions in CIS countries for sparing their valuable time and joining us today. Excellencies, this initiative would have never been possible without your active support. Your focused and comprehensive presentations has been very informative. I am sure that the participants, both physical as well as virtual, must have found this interaction very, very useful. And we hope that the business community will look to forging business ties into the CIS region. Friends, I would also like to avail this opportunity to inform you that as already brought out and spoken to by colleague Mr. Naveen, that the PhD Chamber is planning to organize two very high-level delegations to Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan in the month of November this year. The details of the delegation would be shared with you by the Secretariat team of the International Affairs and Trade Fairs Division of the Chamber in due course. I hope the industry members present today, both virtually and physically, would like to support and come forward for this delegation. It is also a proud privilege for us to all our excellencies who are present here today, as well as those who will be joining us to the 36th annual edition of our flagship event, the Ambassadors Meet, on the Friday, 24th September 2021 at the Oval Mansion, Hotel Hyatt Regency from 7 p.m. onwards. Excellencies, we hope to receive you for that event. We have not had the opportunity to listen to the excellencies from Armenia, Moldova, Ukraine, Russia, who are also part of the Commonwealth of independent states of these countries, but we would be looking forward to interacting with them in the future. With this, I now request all present to carry this vote of thanks with a round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, once again. And I would also like to take this opportunity if we can call the team International Affairs on the stage and we can have a photo op session here, sir. I request if all we can have stand up and get a photo of, so that it can be in the memory of all of us. I request all my team members, Pramodji, please come. I invite all present here to please join us for lunch just outside this auditorium, please.
India, an ancient nation
And now,
that defied imperialism
Phdcci.
to be a modern economy at the heart of global growth. As technology evolved, so did India, becoming a country with one of the highest GDPs in the world.
you.